Hello you guys, coming back at you with another installment on the Saturn View project. Today I am going to be refinishing, well, it's going to be a weekend project, we'll put it that way, these full set of Redline wheels. You notice one does not have a tire. That one I procured on eBay. Got to do what you got to do. One was missing from the car at the junkyard. They all came off a 2004, and mine's a 2004. Not that that matters. They're all the same. Just makes me feel good that at least it's going back on an 04. So I can say it's truly an 04. Anyway, moving on as I ramble. Basically, I just wanted to overview what I got. Junkyard guy. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. They don't look too horrible from the 10-foot mark, but when you get closer, it gets real ugly. This guy is by far the best of the bunch. Got him on eBay. That was the folks I got him from. So, quite pleased. They did great shipping. Everything arrived as it was supposed to. They didn't think they had the center cap, but they found it and sent it with it, so I am pleased. I am happy I have my full set. As for cost, if you have like a pull-apart, other junkyards prices vary, but at pull-apart they seem to be relatively standard. Pull-apart, roughly speaking, it's about 50 bucks-ish. You get the wheel and tire, and then you have a core on top of that. So I had some junk wheels that were cracked and just looked like garbage, and they were small and not something I'd ever use. It's neither here nor there. Important part, I turned in the cores, so those $16 went away. So as far as total cost, roughly around $35 each, and I got to keep the tires. Coming in, you know, a little bit over 100, and this guy was, I think, about 104 on eBay. So all 3 at the junkyard were cheaper than just one on eBay, and that was a killer deal to get that one for as low as I did. You usually don't see them that cheap. So I cannot complain at all, getting basically the whole set for, you know, roughly $210 or so. Side note is you find different numbers on there. B6004 diameter, width, and offset, and then you see your little GM logo, so you know it came from GM. And there's another number. We've got more numbers on here. Now, aftermarket wheels, you're not going to have nearly as many of these designations and numbers, and that may even be your part number. Now, the other thing is the center cap. The center caps will also have part numbers. Right there. Now, you can have this style or that style, and they'll have a very similar part number or the exact same one, but what it's telling you is it's telling you the diameter, so you know that it fits. I want that so that when I refinish it and paint it, I get that embossed look, because if I refinish and paint that guy, it's going to destroy the Saturn logo, so I don't even want to paint those. I'd rather paint this embossed version, and the embossed version comes on the outlooks. So anyway, that was a little sidebar for you guys, just for information, just cause whatever. All right, now to go over the condition of these things, so I kind of get a baseline of where I started. This is our first one. It's on Toyo Extensa HP2. I don't know how they run, I don't know how they ride, but tread's pretty decent on them, so I'll probably run them. I went through and checked for any holes, nails, things like that. The little purple marks were questionable areas that we checked. Everything seems fine. Again, this is wheel number 1. But just to overview, this poor little guy was quite abused, starting at the DOT mark. Oh, that's also another thing. You can check the date code on tires if you buy used tires. A lot of people know to check the tread. You know, you've got your wear bars. That'll give you a little indicator of how much life is left. You can also use a penny. But there is a DOT number that looks like such. And these are actually from 2017. It's those last numbers. That's a very long code number, but usually this is the fourth, gosh, it's not months. It's like the 49th week of 2017 is kind of how that works, if I remember correctly. But basically what's most important is you get that this wheel is 2017. So these guys are pretty dang old. So I won't be running on them long, just enough to kind of, you know, have them for a bit, and then I'll save up and get a full new set. And if there's anything questionable how they run, I'll just go ahead and swap them out. But hopefully the car won't be a daily driver and it won't really matter at that point. So anyway, this particular set, 245/55, that is what the 3 are. However, I'm having trouble sourcing that tire through my tire guy. So I'll probably go used for the first one to put on there. And then after that, I'll get a whole new set. All right, on to the important part. Sorry, I sidetracked when I saw that DOT. Anyway, just to overview the damage. So there is our valve stem, and we will go around and just look at the rim at what I get to repair. I'm basically going to take everything down with sanding discs down as smooth as I can, especially on this one since it's so damaged all the way around. It's not like I'm going to have one deep gouge that'll look funny and I just need to fill it. It's pretty universally wore. So if I just go through it with a flap wheel and get as much of this out as I can, get it all smooth. Onto the spokes, starting in the same area. He's really not too bad. Go to the left. There's one fella. It's mostly just the coating. It's not too bad into the metal. So he's probably suffice with just a sanding and smoothing. Little chip there on the lug nut hole. Not bad, not bad. Most of this is just ick and goo and dirt that stained the clear coat on there, or clear powder coat, whichever it is. These again are not deep into the metal, so it should suffice to just strip off the top coating and prime and paint. And there again, this one not bad except for the rim of the wheel. Okay, moving on, and hopefully I haven't called the wheels rims, but you know, it's one of those things that's so common that it's hard to break that habit when you hear it in common speech. Okay, no tire to deal with on this guy, but he's going to be number 4 since he doesn't have a tire to mark, so we're kind of going out of order. But anyway, starting at the valve stem, which they removed the core on, so I'll have to replace all of that. Anyway, this guy is not bad at all. He's pretty much, that's the only real bad spot in there. It's mostly a good hard scuff and shoot, and he should be okay. But his rim is in, yeah, let's back it back out. I don't know why I had it so zoomed in there. Come on, focus. It doesn't like to focus on that very well, does it? Come on, buddy. Anyway, there's not a whole lot for it to see. Anyway, this one is in very good condition compared to the others. Got a little bit there. Going over the spokes, some scratches. Like I said, that one that's bad. A few little chips here and there. This guy's very serviceable. A lot of people would just run with it. Being that it's silver, you don't really see a lot of that. So he would be acceptable for the majority of folks to run with, unless they were going to fully restore it for showing. This, I believe, is discoloration. hopefully I won't have any issues with the shooting over that. If I do, I'll strip it down. But yeah, this is definitely a powder coating. So, all right, on to my number 2 junkyard wheel. This guy, there's our valve stem. Start in the same spot. All right, he has a bit of chipping. Not badly curved, not like that other one. A little bit there. Didn't really get into the metal. So that isn't bad as far as curbing goes. Now moving on to the spokes. That's pretty bad, but I don't think it got down into the metal, but it definitely took out the powder coating. And all this is chipped. So I don't know if it's sat in water and bubbled up. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but it's on multiple. So the powder coating definitely failed. So all that will have to be stripped in those areas. Again on that one. Again on that one. That guy. All the way around just on these sides. So I don't know if the owner sprayed something and then it sat and ate through, because it's not on the upper. It's only on, but it's all on the same sides. Every single spoke. All right, the bad, besides this guy, orientation, there we go. That guy's bad. There is some metal that chunked up with that, and that is deep. I got some Bondo metal, liquid metal filler to go in that. So we'll see how that turns out. And there's some chipping around there. Overall, not too terrible. Not too terrible. Here's the creme de croix. This fella was face down in the dirt. Still hooked to the suspension. It was a hellacious experience to rescue this wheel, but I had to. I mean, I needed a whole set. So starting at our valve stem, and this one is not a Toyo. This one is a Goodyear Eagle. Let's see what his date code is while we're here. Date code on this guy is right there. So he is a 2019 tire, 27th week of 2019. Ugh, and the insides are atrocious. I need to go back over that if there's enough time, because I'm rambling. I'm sorry guys, I'm so bad about that. But here is our awful, awful rim on this wheel. Just awful. Everything is down into the metal. Let's see. One. There we go. Maybe that's clearer. Good gracious. Look at that mess. All around there is just destroyed. So he is going to take a lot of work. But again, I can, since it's all universal all the way around, I can at least make the wheel look even in and of itself. And unless you compare it to another one, you won't see it. Now the rest of the damage. Starting at our valve stem, and I may go kind of fast because I don't want this to cut off. We've got scratches there. All these are deep into the powder coating. I'll find out if they go into the metal. It's hard to say. I think they might. But this one is a hot mess. I did get glaze so that when I prime it, got some etching primer, but when I prime it, I'll have multiple options to deal with it. Okay, so that's the overview on that. We went over the yick that's on the inside of the barrel. This one is similar. These have all been washed and scrubbed with a brush, so I'm gonna have to get after them with Scotch-Brite to really clean. This one isn't horrible. But these are definitely stained. The scrub brush did nothing to clean it off. Well, I mean, it did something, but not enough. So I'm gonna have to Scotch-Brite pad these guys to get all that off. And of course they'll be scratched at that point, so everything's getting painted. And they're getting painted black, and I'm going to do red. Just haven't decided if I'm just going to do like a thin red just along these edges, or do red in here, or just, I don't know. I'm still working on ideas, but for the most part right now, going black, that's the plan. And that's the overview of where I've started. So worst case, I'll do some quicker videos just showing the progress as I go. You know, marking, using these little marks so you know which is which, but showing the progress. But for the most part, most of the progress videos will be that guy because of how damaged he is. But, so that's my overview video of the wheels. Sorry I ramble so much, but I never know what people do and don't want to hear about. But it's more of a diary of the process, so I tend to include more information than necessary. All right, you guys. Thanks. Bye.